Hello everyone, welcome to sqadia.com. I'm Hina Khan and today the topic of our lecture is the internal examination while we are performing the post-mortem and the exhumation. That is basically the taking out of the dead body for further investigations, in some cases under the legal acquisitions of whatever state we are performing this procedure in. So in this lecture, in the first section, we'll be discussing the visceras, the neck structures, and the lungs, the examination of the viscera, the tongue, and along with its neck structures, and the examination of the lung along with its vessels. The second section comprises of the examination of the heart and the great vessels. Now, there are certain abnormalities that are peculiar to every organ, and so we are going to discuss them in detail over here. Examination of the coronary arteries will be discussed in this section. Moving on, we'll be discussing the intramural or the sandwich cut that is performed to examine the inner aspects of the heart. In the third section, we'll be dealing with the abdominal organs and the brain in detail. Now, the examination of the stomach and the adrenals is discussed over here. Now, there are some specific findings that we can find in a stomach wash that we perform after the postmortem. And the adrenals, they are discussed in detail because they have their specific metabolic characteristics. Some poisons are metabolized in the adrenals, and so they are discussed in detail over here. Their findings are very important. The other organs of the abdomen are also discussed shortly and but quite briefly and comprehensively in this section. Thirdly, we'll be discussing the examination of the brain. Now, there are certain peculiarities that we find in the brain of a person. For example, the cause of death can be acquisized at this level. In the fourth section, the ancillary investigations and a particular autopsy report that is formed after the external as well as the internal examination, which is formed, and it is very comprehensive, it is very brief, and it is accurate according to the knowledge of the medical officer, whosoever is performing the medico-legal autopsy. Now, the microbiology, the histology, and the toxicology is discussed in detail over here. The imaging and photography, if it is also included in this section, what are the findings and how do we interpret them? The autopsy report, of course, it's discussed in detail in different situations, how it is dealt with. In the final section, the fifth section, we'll be dealing with the exhumation and the artifacts. Now, the exhumation, as I've already told you, it is basically the taking out of the dead body from the grave under the legal acquisitions of the state. And it is to basically further enhance the investigation process in any crime that we are dealing with. Then we are going to discuss the post-mortem artifacts in detail in the fifth section, and the autopsy on putrefied bodies and the obscure autopsy. Obscure autopsy is basically an autopsy with negative findings. It has no positive findings, and we'll be discussing that. What's the significance of that obscure autopsy? We'll be discussing that in this section. I hope you want to learn more about internal examination while doing the postmortem and the exhumation in detail. So do watch the other sections of this lecture as well.